Okay, let's get into combined 17 now. Let's just share the page here, guys. This is always a fun segment. Last week we kind of got blown off the park a little bit in the backs,
You did.
and actually you probably say Manly could have scored maybe 2 tries in that first half based off their backs. They maybe bombed a few opportunities, but
Yeah.
I think we got it right with the forwards. Majority Warriors in the forwards, and they delivered the forwards. So
100%.
be interesting to see which area of the field we win in this matchup, and maybe some weaknesses, and maybe if that reflects in the game as well. So let's just shoot over there, guys. We will start with the left wing. Now, people are saying that it is actually Dom Young on the left wing. Is that right? Is that they changed
Nah.
over? Okay.
Nah, from memory, I'm pretty sure he's still on the right. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
I think we're going to
Because
stick with him being on.
Nwanga Nisawase was playing. He had that really nice sweep play to Tedesco on that left hand side for Daniel Tupou's try. So yeah, Daniel Tupou's on the left.
Daniel Tupou, we'll just confirm that, guys. Daniel Tupou is on the left. So let's start with Tupou versus RTS. I think Tupou bagged a few tries on the weekend, and RTS as well. So this is a good little battle.
It's tough.
It is a tough one. I might go with the home guy at home, but bro, you can't discredit as an actual winger in the last probably 5-10 years that Tupou has been one of the good wingers. Would you go Tupou in all fairness, or is Rog, Rog at home maybe it does well as well? But what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, like it's tough, because the way I look at it is like an out and out player, I would have Roger over Daniel Tupou, but as an out and out winger, I think Daniel Tupou is one of the most underrated wingers like of all time. Like what he's done over a long period of time in rugby league. That's what makes it so tough. I'm going to sway the way of Roger in the fact of like I think Roger's numbers I think can trump Daniel Tupou overall, but this is not saying anything against Daniel Tupou. As I said before, he's so underrated and he's one of the best wingers like of all time, right? I think just at this current moment, I think Roger can produce a little bit more from that wing for our side. So I'm going Rog.
Yeah, I think we're going to go Rog there. And look, I'm not saying that Tupou won't have a good game too, but yeah, in that sense, he will. And Ash just casually nailed the pronunciation. Nawanga ni Tawasi. I think I'm getting my thing around it too.
You had that. You nailed that first time there. Shit.
Nawanga ni, and then you can do the rest, I think. But yeah,
that's the best way I learned it.
Okay, let's move now to fullback. Teddy versus CNK. I've still got to go with Teddy personally. Would you say the same?
Yeah, for sure. Teddy again, just having another amazing season. Like even with the poor game against the Broncos, he still had a lot of good moments in that game. His leadership, he's been probably the standout for the number one, the fullback jersey for the last decade, maybe longer. So. I think Tedesco definitely for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's quite easy, that one. Okay, now we've got Dom Young versus Tane. I think obviously again goes back to a natural winger, natural finisher, explosive with pace. Although I love what Tane's doing, I got to personally go with Dom Young here. Would you say as well, Ash? There.
Yeah, I go with Dom Young. It doesn't come with drawbacks, obviously. Dom Young does have moments where he can have an absolute shocker, but his speed, his power, big body that moves so well on that edge. I think I'll just sway him over Tane at the moment because Tane obviously playing a little bit out of position. So I'm going a natural winger here.
Yeah, and everyone in the chat's acknowledging Dom Young in terms of his attacking game for sure. So let's move now to the left center. And I believe this is Mark Nawanga versus
there we go.
Pompey. Adam Pompey.
Yes.
Now, Mark had a good try. He seems to be naturally doing well. But
Very
in
talented.
essence of NRL games, Pompey has the experience. Where do you sit on this one? Yeah, very talented player is Mark. Yeah.
It's tough because the first two games of Mark, Nwanga Tuase, he showed a really high ceiling. Like he showed that he has a ton of potential behind him. Where Bompy has been very consistent for a long period of time, but the ceiling of Bompy is definitely not of Marky Mark. So I'll just give it to the Roosters guys here of Nwanga Tuase, just because of the ability that he has, his tackle break ability. He's looking like someone that's going to be a superstar in the future. I do agree with a lot of the other commentators and stuff to say that the winger does look like he's probably best position overall. But him playing at centre there, some of the things like he's be able to do there, it would be nice for us to have him. That's the way I'm kind of envisioning this. If we were able to buy Nwanga Tuase, I think that he would be an incredible purchase for us.
Yeah, he does. He looks very natural in his game style as well. Yeah, fair enough, and good call there. Let's go now to the right centre. Good battle here. We've got Ali Leatoa versus Robert Toya, and Robert's had been pretty good start to the season, as has Ali. Can you just actually first talk about the difference, or what are their styles between the stylistic difference between the twos? I know Ali's more of a power center, I view, in my opinion.
Agreed.
What's Robert's kind of game?
You kind of nailed that. Overall, as we know from Ale, just a really big body that moves very, very well. Got great footwork and play on both sides, this and that. Robert Toya is very fleet-footed, beautiful footwork. He has got tackle break ability as well. I would say the power battle goes Ali's way for sure, though. I think that for me, seeing this battle, I'm swaying the way of Ali Leatoa. I think Ali's ceiling for me is like New Zealand international. I think Robert Toya has the ability. I think Robert could have the ability to playing Origin at some time in the future. Yep. Shout out Norfolk's boy, so he'd be a Queensland boy.
Nice.
But a ton of talent. So, but at the moment, I'm going to sway the way of Ali Leatoa. I think Ali's ceiling for me is higher, but Robert's just about there with him.
Yeah. Let's do that. I think that's a fair analysis and great future stars of the game potentially. 100%. Hopefully we get to see more battles in the future. Okay, let's go now to the halves. You could probably say from an infancy level with Chanel and Luke, but Chatty Townsend on the other end of the spectrum with Sandon Smith. Let's start with our 5'8".
Yep.
Chanel versus Sandon. I saw Sandon had a pretty good game.
Did
on last week. Chanel playing reasonably well within his skill set as well. How do you have this one going between the two of them?
I would sway the way of Chanel Harris-Tavita over what I've seen over a long period of time. I think Chanel has definitely got a great ability there as a 6. I think Sandon will probably grow into a player that can fill in so often with first grade, then jump up and down. But overall, I think Chanel's probably for the time period that he's been in the NRL, I've just enjoyed a lot more of his game. I think Sandon's only just really cracked the NRL and he's had some good moments. But he's obviously very young as well in first grade. So I'm going to sway to Chanel Harris-Tavita. But Sandon definitely got a ton of ability, as we saw over the weekend against the Penrith Panthers. He had some really, really great moments. So I'm not shying away from saying that he's definitely a good player as well.
Yep. That's a fair analysis. And let's go now with Metcalf versus Townsend. I think, Chad's obviously on the back end here. And I'd say riding the wave of Metcalf, he's actually on the up. Yeah, it feels like a definite Metcalf for me. Would you be the same as well?
Yeah, I'd sway the way of Metcalf. Now it's just really the argument of experience versus a guy that's just learning that position. But I think the potential of Metcalf for me at the moment is definitely, obviously, Chatty Townsend, as you said, downward trajectory in his career. Metcalf has got the highest ceiling right now. So go Lukey Mets.
Yep. Okay, guys, that makes up sorry, let me move that up for everyone. That makes up the backline. Look, we went out 4-3, but there is some explosive pace there to be aware of. I've got a feeling that Nawanga Tuasi will have a try. I'm feeling like he'll
Yeah.
cross over the line for any time try scored. I've just got this weird feeling he's going to score. But yeah, that's good so far. Let's move now into the middles. So we'll go with our props, which is a good little battle here. JFH versus Spencer Lenu. Let's combine them as well. Let's go with the 4 because there's not so much left or right, but the best 2, Fisher Harris, Barnett, and Alfahu White. Shivers. It's a close battle. I think you dropped Spencer out, obviously. Now Fahu's a beast too, and we probably deserve a shout at least. But kind of leaning towards Mitch and Fish in this situation. What would you say, Ash?
I think the easiest way to separate this, I'd say Fish is the dominant out of all of them. So Fish is in there for sure.
Yeah.
And then it's really the argument of Mitch Barnett versus obviously Spencer and Nafahu White. I think a lot of Blues fans would call Spencer over Mitch due to what he did in Origin, but I thought Mitch had a really good Origin series as well, made Australia. I think Mitch is a lot more consistent. Prop. He can do a lot more. We can put him on an edge if we need to. He's just an amazing footballer. So I'm swaying the way of Mitch Barnett over the lot. But both those props definitely have ability. Like Spencer, we know the tackle break ability that he has. And with Nafahu White, after the Kiwi form that he's had some up and down moments early to start the season, but he's definitely a prop for the future.
Yeah, I'll add in Barney after we do our lock just so it looks nice and clean. But we'll go now to the lock position. Aaron Clark versus Victor Radley. Shivers, I haven't really been watching much of Victor lately, but I know he's a top quality lock. On paper, probably above Aaron. But where do you see this battle out? Because I find it I'd be a bit tough. I don't want to be unfair on Aaron too. But
I know.
Yeah.
It's tough, man, because Victor has been playing on the edge for a lot of time lately. So I do think that this lineup will change come game day. I think we'll end up seeing Lindsay Collins go to the front row, Nafahu probably drop down to that 13 role, theoretically, right, on paper. And Radley will go, trying to think of maybe Wong will go to that 13 role and Radley go to the edge, so they can try and push in Lindsay Collins. But if we're going Victor Radley and Aaron Clark has showed a lot of good ability in that 13 role, but I got to go the way of Victor Radley for obviously the long term. He's experienced in that 13 jersey, beautiful ball playing. He's great defensively. Not to say Aaron's not. I think Aaron's just good and amazing in those areas as well. But obviously the experience of Victor Radley and hitting the top of the level in that 13 jersey, where Aaron's obviously still early in his career in that sense.
Yep. No, that's a fair call. And I think for us, at least, he's a good player too, older Aaron, and I wouldn't want to discredit him. But yeah, in that situation, for sure, you got to go with Victor there. Let's go to a hooker now. It is. Connor Watson's playing pretty well, and Egan, he's had a great game last week. Again, just quickly on Egan, for me, just needs to be consistent. People are still asking me, should we hold a Sam Healy on the bench for Egan? I mean, there's still that fear amongst fans that he is due for a concussion. So, but who would you pick in this battle? It is a tight one. It is a very tight one.
Very, very tight. I'm swaying the way of Wade Egan as a natural hooker. As a hooker, if I'm going number 9, I'm going Wade Egan. Obviously Connor Watson can come off the bench in that 14 jersey, play anywhere on the park. He's such an amazing athlete. But what Wade Egan does, deceptiveness in the ruck, the way he obviously shoots markers one way and he plays off the back of that, and if he stays on the football field, I think he's one of the best hookers in the competition. I think the only thing that we have against Wade Egan is that he ends up picking up an injury or a head knock. So if he stays healthy, I think that's not a crazy thing to say that Wade Egan's one of the best hookers in the competition.
Sorry guys, let me just get this up. Oh wait, then you go to the hooker. There we go. Egan. There he is. No problem. Okay, let's go to the edges now. Kurt Capewell versus Angus Crichton. Gotta go Capewell. No. Sorry, Kurt. I think you gotta obviously go Crichton there. But love to have Kurt have a good game though.
Yeah, definitely agree with you here, bro. We're talking about the upper echelon of edge back rower, what Angus Crichton can do on his day. Kurt Capewell, really great player, like high energy, like a worker. But Angus is like a worker, but with like that athleticism, that attacking punch. So we're going Angus Crichton.
Got to go Crichton, man. Fair enough there. Okay, guys, now let's go to the right side, which is Siwa Wong versus Marata Newcordy. I haven't watched much of Siwa. I know Siwa's a really high talent. I mean, Marata's been up and down, to be fair. He did have a good game, but also that consistency is an issue.
Yeah.
Who would you go in that battle?
This one's a really tight one for me, bro, especially if Marata Newcordy's form. I thought he had a great game last weekend, especially when we're turning him back underneath. I think that's probably preferable for him when he starts hitting those short balls, unless he seems to have errors in him at the moment and playing close to the line, whether that's more so on Luke or him, I'm not too sure. But Wong has had really high moments as well and really low moments in first grade. And I think that, unfortunately, Robbo's played with his career a little bit from the middle and the edge, is kind of like messing his development. So at the moment, I've swayed away with Marata Newcordy, but it's very, very small, as in the fact of I think Wong's potential for me right now is higher. I think Wong has very high potential, great body, moves really well. Marata is just holding on there more so on experience and what he's done over time comparatively to what Wong's been in and out of first grade for a long period of time now.
Yeah. Fair call. And guys, this is the team. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 5 Roosters. Now remember, guys, that they're actually quality players that have probably just missed out in the Fahu White, Siwa Wong. So it is quite an even battle in the middle. I don't, and you got Lindsay Collins on the bench technically. So it's actually, if you actually add it up, it's going to be a big physical battle. And so it's going to be a good one. Let's get now to the bench, which is from the 4 we've got at the moment: Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Dimitri Vaimaunga, Leka Lasima versus Docker Clay, Salesi Foketi, Blake Steep, and Lindsay Collins. So, where are we going with that, Ash, in your opinion?
Let's kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're going Dylan Walker and Lindsay Collins for sure.
Yeah,
I think both those guys add a lot there, is the mainstays and guys that have the ability to be starters in rugby league, and even just their impact. Like Dylan Walker's impact from the bench is unmatched. So I think that we'll be seeing him most of this year in our combined 13s for that 14 jersey. He's incredible there. And as enough said with Lindsay Collins, what he does on the big stages, he is just an absolute worker. The other player I would chuck up in there, Salesi Foketi, is a young player just getting into first grade, got a ton of ability, a ton of talent, same as Blake Steep. So they're kind of fighting it off with Vaimaunga and Halasima. Jackson Ford will probably find a spot for me. At the moment, I'd still probably have them Jackson Ford above some of these younger boys just yet. But there will come a time where those boys jump. So we're going Jackson. And lastly, it's really out of those 4 young boys. Because Zach Docker-Clay, he can do a job, but, we already have a Dylan Walker type on the bench, and I don't really want to carry Zach Docker-Clay as well. So out of those boys that we have there, I think the highest ceiling player, Foketi, Steep, Vaimaunga, and Halasima, I'm going Leka Halasima.
Yep.
I think he's got the highest ceiling out of those 4 names there for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And from what you've seen, I know you would have watched a bit more than me for sure. That you would pick Leka based on that and based on that ceiling. So, look, guys, that rounds up the fantasy there. Let me just quickly get that there. So you do have 4, 5, really probably 6 or 7 Roosters if you really base it on quality and form in that starting 13. But our boys win it out 8-5 there, and we win the bench out with Lindsay Collins, who probably will come into the starting rotation, or they'll mix it up. So it's more of a I'd say probably a 10-7 in our favor. 9, could push a 9-8, but 10-7, pretty solid. Which would again put pressure on us, I say, to be dominant, at least to match it with the physicality that the Roosters have, but also stand up to what we produced last week.
What I would say, bro, is like when we look at these lineups, you hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of these combined 13, like, there's whiskers in a lot of them. Like you could have easily gone Daniel Tupou over Roger Tuivasa-Sheck just for the longevity and how good he is as a winger. We had Mark Nawanga-Tuase. We could have had Bumpy there for that position, but Robert Toya, in some other people's eyes, Robert Toya might be the next best thing.
Point.
So like all these guys are very, very close. And I think, the Roosters versus us is actually on paper a closer battle. Like it was one of the closest battles, 50-50 battles that we're going to see this year. So I think they're on very similar sort of footing to where we are at the moment. So it really comes down to our halves, our spine clicking, our forward pack getting very dominant in the middle and allowing just, obviously seeing the experienced members of Chad Townsend and James Tedesco not to out-enthuse us and experience us in key moments. So I think that's a big thing I'm worried about with the Roosters.